The Galactic Assembly Station floated in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower. It orbited the neutral world of Vareth Prime, and for 12,000 years, it had been the center of galactic politics. 47 species sent their ambassadors here. They made treaties, resolved conflicts, and shaped the future of countless worlds. But in all those thousands of years, no one had ever seen a human in person. Humans were stories. They were legends told to frighten young aliens before sleep. The tales spoke of a death world called Earth, where the gravity crushed bones. The atmosphere burned lungs, and the creatures killed each other for sport. The stories said humans could run for days without stopping. They said humans healed from wounds that would kill any other species. They said humans had once split the atom and used it to destroy their own cities. Most aliens believed humans were fake. A myth. An exaggeration created by travelers who wanted to seem brave. Ambassador Kethvan of the Vorelian Empire certainly believed this. He was a tall creature with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. He had served on the council for 60 years, and he had never seen proof that humans existed. Whenever someone claimed to have met a human, Kethvan laughed. He called them liars or fools. So when the small ship appeared on the station's sensors, Kethvan paid no attention. Ships arrived every day. This one was unremarkable. It was gray and compact, about the size of a Vorelian cargo shuttle. The name painted on its hull read Carolina. The ship requested permission to dock. The station's controllers granted it without much thought. 20 minutes later, Kethvan received a message that changed everything. Ambassador, his assistant said, trembling. The beings from that ship. They claimed to be human. Kethvan laughed. More frauds. Send them away. Sir, the sensors have confirmed their biology. They match the old records exactly. They are human. For the first time in 60 years, Kethvan felt afraid. He rushed to the docking bay with dozens of other delegates. They formed a crowd near the airlock, pushing and shoving to get a better view. Armed guards stood ready, though no one knew what they would do if the legends were true. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. 2 figures stepped out. The first was a male. He stood about average height for the species described in the old texts. His skin was brown, his hair was black and cut short, and his eyes scanned the crowd with calm confidence. He wore a gray uniform with symbols on the chest. His posture was straight and relaxed at the same time, like a predator that saw no threats. The second was a female. She was shorter, with pale skin and red hair tied back. Her eyes were green and sharp. She carried a small device in her hand and studied the crowd with clear curiosity. The male spoke first. His voice was deep and steady. I am Commander Daniel Brooks of the United Earth Coalition. This is Lieutenant Amy Lawson. We come in peace and request formal recognition from the Galactic Council. Silence filled the docking bay. No one moved. No one breathed. Kethvan pushed through the crowd. He had to see for himself. He stopped 3 meters from the humans and stared at them. His 4 hands trembled. This is impossible, he said. Humans are not real. Commander Brooks smiled slightly. And yet here we stand, Ambassador. You could be anything. A trick, a disguise. Lieutenant Lawson held up her device. We anticipated skepticism. Our medical data, genetic profiles, and biological readings are available for your scientists to examine. We have nothing to hide. The crowd began to whisper. Some aliens backed away. Others leaned closer. A small creature with many eyes fainted and had to be carried off. High Arbiter Drolix arrived within the hour. He was ancient even by galactic standards, with wrinkled gray skin and eyes that had seen empires rise and fall. He led the humans to the council chamber personally. The chamber was vast. Hundreds of seats rose in circles around a central platform. Representatives from all 47 member species filled those seats, and every single one of them stared at the two humans standing below. "You claim to represent Earth," Trollocs said. "A world we believed was legend. Why have you come?" Brooks stepped forward. "Humanity has watched the galaxy for a long time, High Arbiter. We have listened to your communications, studied your cultures, and learned your languages. We did not reveal ourselves because we wanted to understand you first. Now we believe the time has come to introduce ourselves properly. And what do you want? The same thing any species wants: peace, trade, a place among the stars. We ask only for the chance to prove ourselves as worthy members of this community." Kethvan stood from his seat. "This is absurd. Even if these creatures are human, why should we trust them? The legends say they are violent, dangerous. They cannot be allowed into civilized space." Brooks turned to face him. His expression remained calm. "The legends say many things, Ambassador. Some are true. Some are not. Yes, humanity has known violence. We have fought wars among ourselves. We have made terrible mistakes. But we have also built great things. We have learned. We have grown. We do not ask you to trust us immediately. We ask only for the chance to earn that trust." The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates demanded the humans be arrested. Others wanted to hear more. A few suggested killing them immediately before they could cause trouble. Lieutenant Lawson watched the chaos with a slight frown. She leaned toward Brooks and spoke quietly. "They are more afraid than I expected." "Fear is natural," Brooks replied. "We are the monster from their childhood stories. Give them time." But time was something they did not have. A warning alarm suddenly echoed through the station. Red lights flashed. The debate stopped instantly. A controller's voice came through the speakers, shaking with terror. "Long-range sensors have detected a fleet approaching. 200 warships. They belong to the Krithos Dominion." The chamber went silent. Trollocs turned pale. "The Dominion? Here. Why?" The answer came moments later when a transmission forced its way through all channels. A harsh voice filled the chamber, speaking words that made every alien's blood run cold. "We are the Krithos Dominion. We have heard rumors of humans in this sector. Surrender them to us now, or we will reduce this station and everyone aboard to ashes. You have 1 hour." Brooks looked at Lawson. She looked back at him. Neither of them seemed afraid. Panic spread through the Galactic Assembly Station like fire through dry grass. Delegates screamed and ran for their ships. Guards abandoned their posts. Servants trampled each other in the corridors. The Krithos Dominion was coming, and everyone knew what that meant. The Krithos were conquerors. They had destroyed 17 civilizations in the past 1,000 years. Their ships were massive and brutal, built for one purpose only. When the Krithos arrived somewhere, they left nothing behind but ash and silence. High Arbiter Trollocs stood frozen in the council chamber. His old hand shook as he stared at the sensor display showing 200 red dots moving closer. "Our defense fleet is 4 days away," he said quietly. "The station has only basic shields. No heavy weapons. We cannot fight them." Ambassador Kethvan pointed at the two humans with all 4 of his arms. "This is their fault. The Dominion came because of them. Give them what they want. Surrender the humans and save us all." Several other delegates shouted in agreement. Fear had replaced reason. They would sacrifice anyone to survive. Commander Brooks raised his hand. The gesture was small, but somehow it silenced the room. "May I speak?" he asked calmly. Trollocs nodded. At this point, there was nothing to lose. Brooks walked to the center of the chamber. He moved slowly, deliberately, like a man with all the time in the world. Every alien eye followed him. I understand your fear, he said. The Krithos are powerful. They have crushed many worlds. But I want you to understand something about humanity. We did not come here unprepared. We did not reveal ourselves without a plan. Kethvon made a noise of disgust. What plan? You arrived in one small ship. What can you possibly do against 200 warships? Brooke smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not. Lieutenant Lawson, he said. Show them? Lawson pressed a button on her device. The display screens around the chamber changed. They showed the Carolina still docked at the station. But now the ship's specifications appeared beside it. The aliens stared at the numbers without understanding at first thought. Then understanding came, and it brought fresh terror. Military-grade shield generators, Lawson explained calmly. Hidden weapon systems. Armor plating rated for direct nuclear strikes. The Carolina is not a diplomatic vessel. It is a warship disguised as one. The chamber went silent. Dr. Linda Hayes stepped forward. She was another human who had been waiting aboard the Carolina. She was older than the others, with gray streaks in her brown hair and kind eyes behind thin glasses. Perhaps I can explain further, she said. Many of you believe the legends about Earth are exaggerated. They are not. If anything, they are understated. She activated another display. Images appeared showing Earth, volcanoes, hurricanes, predators with massive teeth, deserts and frozen wastelands. Our world is classified as a Category 12 death world, Hayes continued. The gravity is 1.4 times the galactic standard. Our atmosphere contains a gas called oxygen that is toxic to 60% of known species. Our planet experiences extreme temperature variations, violent weather patterns, and constant geological instability. She paused to let that sink in. And yet humanity not only survived there. We thrived. We became the dominant species. We conquered every environment on our world, from the frozen poles to the burning deserts. We learned to hunt creatures 10 times our size. We developed technology that split atoms and sent us to other worlds. Kethvin's blue-gray skin had turned pale. What are you saying? I am saying that humanity was forged in fire, Ambassador. We are stronger than we look. We are faster than we appear. And we are far, far more stubborn than you can imagine. The station shook as the Krithos fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Through the windows, aliens could see the massive warships taking position. Each one was larger than the station itself. Their weapons hummed with power. A new transmission came through. The face of Overlord Marathkol appeared on every screen. He was huge, even for a Krithos. His skin was dark red, covered in ritual scars. His yellow eyes burned with contempt. Your hour begins now, he growled. Bring us the humans. Or die. The transmission ended. Drolix looked at Brooks with something like desperation. Commander, please, what can we do? Brooks did not answer immediately. He walked to a window and looked out at the enemy fleet. 200 ships. Enough firepower to crack a planet in half. Then he turned back to face the Council. High Arbiter, I need you to understand something. Humanity did not survive for 200,000 years by surrendering. We did not cross the stars by giving up when things looked impossible. We are here because generation after generation of humans refused to accept defeat. He straightened his uniform. The Krithos have made a mistake. They think we are weak because we came in one small ship. They think we are foolish because we asked for peace. They are wrong. Sergeant Kevin Porter entered the chamber. He was a large man with dark skin and muscles that strained against his uniform. Behind him came 12 more humans in combat armor, carrying weapons the aliens did not recognize. My Marines are ready, sir, Porter reported. Brooks nodded. Then he looked at Lawson. Send the signal. Lawson pressed another button on her device. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then space itself seemed to tear apart. 50 points of light blazed into existence around the station. Ships appeared where there had been nothing before. Human ships. They were smaller than the Krithos vessels, sleek and angular. Covered in weapons. Admiral Christine Vega's voice came through every speaker on the station. This is Admiral Vega of the United Earth Coalition Fleet. We have been watching. We have been waiting. And now we are here. She paused. Krithos Dominion, you have threatened innocent lives and demanded the surrender of human citizens. This will not be tolerated. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. Overlord Marathkol's response was immediate. His fleet opened fire. Brooks watched the first volley of enemy weapons streak toward the station. He did not flinch. Good, he said quietly. We were hoping you would do that. The first Krithos weapons fire never reached the station. Human ships moved with impossible speed, placing themselves between the enemy and the innocents behind them. Shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the impacts. Not a single shot got through. Admiral Christine Vega stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Boston. She was a woman in her 50s with silver hair and eyes as cold as deep space. She had fought in 3 wars and never lost a battle. She did not intend to start losing now. All ships, engage, she ordered. Protect the station. Show them what humanity can do. The human fleet surged forward. On the station, the alien delegates watched through windows and display screens. They had expected the smaller human ships to be destroyed in seconds. Instead, they saw something that would haunt their dreams forever. The human vessels did not fly like normal ships. They spun and twisted and changed direction without slowing down. They moved through the Krithos formation like water through cracks in stone. The enemy could not track them. They could not hit them, but the humans could hit them. Captain Roy Mitchell led the first squadron directly into the heart of the enemy fleet. His ship, the Atlanta, was barely 1/10 the size of a Krithos cruiser. It should have been destroyed instantly. Instead, Mitchell flew between 2 enemy vessels so close that his shield scraped their hulls. Fire, he said calmly. His weapons officer, Technician Gary Simmons, pressed the trigger. Twin beams of light erupted from the Atlanta. They were not like any weapons the galaxy had seen before. These were kinetic accelerators, firing solid metal projectiles at nearly the speed of light. The projectiles punched through Krithos armor like needles through paper. The first enemy cruiser exploded. Then the second. Mitchell was already gone, spinning away before the debris could touch him. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human ships darted and weaved, striking with precision and vanishing before the enemy could respond. The Krithos fired thousands of shots. Most hit nothing but empty space. Overlord Marathkal watched from his flagship with growing fury. This was impossible. The humans were outnumbered 4-1. Their ships were smaller, supposedly weaker. Yet his fleet was taking casualties, while the humans lost nothing. What are they? One of his officers asked, voice trembling. They are prey, Marathkal snarled. Nothing more. Increase firepower. Destroy them all. But the humans were not prey. They were predators wearing the skin of prey. And they were only getting started. On the station, Commander Brooks watched the battle with Sergeant Porter and his Marines. The aliens around them had stopped panicking. Now they simply stared, unable to look away. Ambassador Kethvon stood beside Dr. Hayes. His earlier arrogance had disappeared completely. How are they doing this? He whispered. Your ships are so small. Our sensors say your technology should be inferior to the Krithos. Hayes smiled slightly. Technology is only part of warfare, Ambassador. The more important part is the mind using it. She pointed at the display showing human ship movements. Do you see how they move? That is not random. Every ship knows exactly where every other ship is. They coordinate without speaking, anticipating each other's actions. Human soldiers train together for years. They develop bonds that go beyond words. They become extensions of a single will. Cathvan shook his head in disbelief. No species can coordinate like that. We can. We evolved as pack hunters on a death world. Cooperation was not optional. It was survival. A Krethos battleship targeted the station directly, trying to kill the delegates to force a surrender. Before its weapons could fire, 3 human ships converged on it from different angles. They struck simultaneously, their weapons tearing through shields and armor. The battleship broke apart in silence. Sergeant Porter touched his earpiece. Commander, Admiral Vega reports we have destroyed 47 enemy vessels. Our losses are 0. The alien delegates heard this. 0 losses. Against the Krethos Dominion. It seemed like a miracle, but Commander Brooks did not look happy. He was staring at the main display, watching Marathkol's flagship. The Overlord is not retreating, he said quietly. He should be. Any rational commander would withdraw and regroup. But he is not rational. He is proud. As if hearing these words, Marathkol's voice boomed through the station once more. You think you have won, humans? You think your tricks impress me? I will show you true power. On the flagship, something began to happen. A massive weapon system powered up. It was ancient technology, forbidden by galactic law. A planet killer. A weapon designed to crack worlds in half, and Marathkol aimed it at Varus. Prime. The planet below held 400 million. Civilians, families, children, innocent beings who had nothing to do with this. Battle. Surrender now, Marathkol roared. Or I will destroy them all. Every man, every woman, every child. Their deaths will be your fault. The human fleet paused. Admiral Vega's voice came through, tight with controlled anger. Commander Brooks, we cannot penetrate his flagship shields in time. If he fires that weapon, millions will die. Brooks closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were filled with cold determination. Admiral, requesting permission to board the enemy flagship. A long pause. Then Vega's voice, heavy with understanding. Permission granted. Give them hell, Commander. Brooks turned to Porter and his Marines. They looked back at him without fear. They knew what he was asking. They knew the odds. And they were ready. Gentlemen, Brooks said, we are going to take that ship. We are going to stop that weapon. And we are going to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten innocence in front of humans. Porter grinned. About time, sir. They moved toward the docking bay at a run. Behind them, the alien delegates watched in stunned silence. Lieutenant Lawson stayed behind. An alien asked her why she was not going with them. She answered simply, my job is communications. Their job is violence. And right now, violence is exactly what is needed. Small boarding pods launched from the Carolina. They shot across the battlefield like bullets, dodging enemy fire, heading straight for the massive Krethos flagship. The second phase of the battle was about to begin. The boarding pod hit the Krethos flagship like a fist through glass. Metal screamed as the pod punched through the outer hull and buried itself deep inside the enemy vessel. Emergency seals activated, preventing the atmosphere from escaping. Commander Brooks was the first one out. He moved through the breach with his weapon raised, scanning for threats. The corridor was dark, lit only by red emergency lights. Alarms wailed in the distance. The air smelled of smoke and something sharp, like copper. Sergeant Porter came through next, followed by the rest of the Marines. 12 humans in total. 12 against a ship carrying thousands thought the odds meant nothing to them. "Move fast," Brooks ordered. "Command deck is 6 levels up. We have maybe 10 minutes before Marathko fires that weapon." They ran. The first Krethos soldiers appeared around the corner. There were 8 of them, massive creatures standing over 2 meters tall, covered in natural armor. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. The Marines did not slow down. Porter fired first. His shot took the lead Krethos in the throat, dropping it instantly. The other Marines spread out without needing orders, each one finding cover and angles automatically. They moved like parts of a single machine. The firefight lasted 11 seconds. When it ended, all 8 Krethos lay dead. The humans had not taken a single wound. They kept running. More enemies came. Groups of 5, 10, 20. The Krethos were strong and brave, but they had never faced anything like this. The humans did not fight like other species. They did not stand in neat lines and exchange fire. They attacked from multiple angles at once, creating confusion and fear. They aimed for weak points with perfect accuracy. They never stopped moving. A Krethos soldier swung a massive blade at Porter. He ducked under it, grabbed the creature's arm, and used its own momentum to throw it into a wall. Before it could recover, another Marine finished it. Brooks led from the front. He was older than his soldiers, but he moved with the same deadly grace. Every shot he fired found its target. Every decision he made was correct. They reached a large chamber where wounded Krethos soldiers lay on medical beds. Medics tended to them, unarmed and helpless. The wounded looked at the humans with terror in their yellow eyes. One of the Marines raised his weapon. "No," Brooks said sharply. "They are not threats. Leave them." The Marine lowered his weapon without question. A young Krethos soldier, barely more than a child, stared at Brooks with confusion. One of his arms was missing, wrapped in bloody bandages. "Why?" the young soldier asked. "We would kill you if you were wounded." Brooks paused for just a moment. "Killing the helpless is not strength. It is cowardice. We are not cowards." Then he kept moving. They reached the command deck with 3 minutes remaining on the planet killer countdown. The doors were heavy, reinforced with layers of armor. Porter placed explosive charges while the others held off enemy reinforcements. The charges detonated. The doors fell. Overlord Marathko stood waiting. He was enormous, even larger than he had appeared on screen. His red skin glistened under the bridge lights. His yellow eyes burned with hatred. In his hands he held a weapon that looked more like a cannon than a gun. Around him stood his personal guard. 20 of the largest, strongest Krethos warriors in the Dominion. They wore ceremonial armor and carried blades as long as a human was tall. "Insects," Marathko growled. "You dare enter my ship." "My throne room?" Brooks stepped forward, alone. His Marines spread out behind him, weapons ready. "Overlord Marathko, I am Commander Daniel Brooks of the United Earth Coalition. I am ordering you to stand down and surrender your vessel." Marathko laughed. It was a terrible sound, like rocks grinding together. "You order me? You are nothing. A creature from a myth. A story to frighten children. And you dare give orders to the overlord of the Dominion?" "Yes," Brooks said simply. Marathko's laughter stopped. His eyes narrowed. "Kill them all." The personal guard charged. What followed was brutal and fast. The humans and Krethos crashed together in a storm of violence. Weapons fired. Blades swung. Bodies fell. Porter took a blade across his shoulder, but kept fighting with one arm. Another Marine went down, then struggled back up and rejoined the battle. The humans were smaller, weaker than their enemies in raw strength. But they were faster, smarter, and absolutely relentless. One by one, the personal guard fell. Brooks fought his way toward Marathko. The Overlord swung his massive weapon like a club, missing by centimeters. Brooks ducked, rolled, came up inside the creature's guard. He struck at joints, at nerve points, at every weakness human intelligence had identified. Marathkul roared in pain and fury. He grabbed Brooks and threw him across the room. Brooks hit the wall hard, felt ribs crack, tasted blood. He got back up. "Why will you not die?" Marathkul screamed. Brooks spat blood onto the floor. "Because I am human. And humans do not quit." He charged again. This time, he did not try to match strength with strength. He used the environment. He led Marathkul toward a console, made him stumble over debris, kept him off balance. When the Overlord swung, Brooks was never there. When Brooks struck, he hit the same spots over and over, building damage. The countdown timer showed 30 seconds. Brooks saw the weapon controls behind Marathkul. He needed to reach them. But the Overlord stood in his way, still fighting, still dangerous. 20 seconds. Porter appeared beside him, bleeding but alive. Together they attacked, forcing Marathkul back step by step. 10 seconds. Brooks saw his opening. He dove past the Overlord, taking a glancing blow that sent agony through his broken ribs. His hands found the controls. 5 seconds. He entered the shutdown code that Lieutenant Lawson had. Hacked from enemy communications. The countdown stopped. Marathkul screamed in rage and raised his weapon for a killing blow. Porter tackled him from behind. Other Marines piled on. The Overlord thrashed and roared, but there were too many of them. Slowly they forced him down. Brooks stood over his defeated enemy, breathing hard, covered in blood, both his own and alien. "It is over," he said. Marathkul glared up at him with pure hatred. "Kill me then. Finish it." Brooks shook his head. "No. You will stand trial. You will answer for your crimes. That is the human way." He turned to Porter. "Secure the prisoner. Signal the fleet. The weapon is disabled." Porter grinned despite his wounds. "Yes, sir." Outside, the human fleet received the message. Admiral Vega allowed herself a small smile. "The Overlord has fallen," she broadcast to the remaining Krethos ships. "Your leader is our prisoner. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, and you will be treated fairly. Continue fighting, and you will be destroyed." One by one, the Krethos ships powered down their weapons. For the first time in their history, the Dominion had lost a war. 3 days passed after the battle. The Galactic Assembly Station had returned to something like normal. The damaged sections were being repaired. The alien delegates had stopped running and screaming. The Krethos prisoners were held in secure cells, awaiting transport to face justice. But nothing would ever be truly normal again. Word had spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. Humans were real. They had defeated the Krethos Dominion. They had stopped a planet killer. They had shown mercy to their enemies when they could have shown cruelty. Every species in the galaxy was talking about them. The Galactic Council gathered for an emergency session. Every seat was filled. Every eye was focused on the central platform where Commander Brooks stood beside Admiral Vega and Dr. Hayes. Lieutenant Lawson stood behind them, quietly recording everything. Sergeant Porter was still in the medical bay, recovering from his wounds. The doctor said he would make a full recovery. They also said they had never seen a species heal so fast. High Arbiter Drolix called the session to order. His voice was stronger than it had been 3 days ago. Watching the humans fight had changed something in him. "We are gathered today to consider the formal recognition of humanity as a member species of the Galactic Council," he announced. "Given the events of recent days, I believe this matter requires immediate attention." Ambassador Kethvon rose from his seat. He looked different now. The arrogance was gone from his posture. He moved slowly, almost humbly, toward the central platform. "Before we proceed, he said. "I wish to speak." The chamber fell silent. Kethvon stopped in front of Commander Brooks. For a long moment, he simply looked at the human. Then he lowered all four of his arms in the Varelian gesture of deep respect. "Commander Brooks, I owe you an apology. When you first arrived, I called your people frauds. I called you primitive. I demanded you be surrendered to save the rest of us." He paused, struggling with the words. "I was wrong. Your people saved millions of lives on Vareth Prime. You showed courage I have never witnessed in 60 years of service. And when you had every right to seek revenge against those who wronged you, you chose mercy instead." He straightened up. "The Varelian Empire formally supports humanity's admission to the Galactic Council." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Other delegates began to stand, adding their voices in support. One by one, species that had dismissed humans as myth now welcomed them as allies. Drolix raised his hand for silence. "Admiral Vega, the Council would hear from you. What does humanity want from this partnership?" Vega stepped forward. She was still wearing her uniform, still carrying herself with military precision. But her voice was warm when she spoke. "High Arbiter, humanity wants what every species wants. We want to explore. We want to trade. We want to learn from other cultures and share our own. We want our children to grow up in a galaxy at peace." She paused. "But we also want something else. We want to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Earth taught us many lessons over thousands of years. The most important was this: strength without compassion is meaningless. Power without justice is tyranny. We will not stand by while innocents suffer. If any species threatens the peace of this community, if any empire tries to conquer or destroy, humanity will oppose them." She looked around the chamber. "We do not seek to rule the galaxy. We do not want tribute or worship. We ask only for fair trade and mutual respect. In return, we offer our friendship, our technology, and our protection to any who need it." The chamber erupted in applause. Not all species participated, but most did. The fear that had gripped the station 3 days ago had transformed into something else. Hope.dral single quotes IX called for a vote. The result was unanimous. For the first time in 12,000 years, a new species was welcomed into the Galactic Council. Humanity had arrived. After the ceremony, Brooks walked alone to an observation deck. The stars spread out before him, countless points of light against the darkness. Somewhere out there was Earth, a small blue world that had produced a species too stubborn to die. Dr. Hayes found him there. "Quite a week," she said, standing beside him. Brooks nodded. "Quite a week. Do you think we did the right thing? Revealing ourselves now?" "I think we did not have a choice. The Krethos forced our hand. But perhaps that was meant to be. Perhaps the galaxy needed to see what we could do." Hayes was quiet for a moment. Then she asked the question that had been bothering her. "Marathkal, you could have killed him. After everything he did, everything he tried to do. Why did you let him live?" Brooks turned to face her. His eyes were tired but steady, because killing him would have been easy. Anyone can kill. It takes strength to show mercy. It takes courage to choose justice over revenge. I wanted the galaxy to see that humans are not just dangerous. We are principled. We fight when we must, but we do not fight for cruelty or conquest. We fight to protect. He looked back at the stars. The Krethos will tell stories about us now. So will everyone else. I wanted those stories to include the part where we could have been monsters, but chose to be something better. Hay smiled. "You know, when I was young, I used to wonder if we would ever find other life in the universe. Now we are part of a community of 48 species. It still does not feel real." "It is real," Brooks said. "And it is just the beginning. There is so much out there. So many worlds to see. So many friends to make. And yes, probably more enemies to face. But we will face them together, as we always have. Lawson's voice came through his communicator. Commander, the Council is requesting your presence for the official welcome dinner. Brooks smiled slightly. Tell them I am on my way. He took one last look at the stars. Somewhere in that infinite darkness, humans had spent thousands of years looking up and wondering if they were alone. Now the galaxy knew the answer. They had never been alone. And they were more than ready to take their place among the stars. The most dangerous thing about humans was not their weapons. It was not their technology or their physical strength. It was something far deeper. It was their refusal to ever stop hoping. Their refusal to ever stop fighting for what they believed was right. Their absolute determination to protect those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy had finally met humanity, and nothing would ever be the same again.